This is Mike and Juju's Movie Corner, where every month we are dusting off the VHS tapes and diving deep into the cinematic gems of our childhood. Today we've got a very special Halloween edition for October. We are not clowning around one bit, y'all. That's right, we're talking about the 1988 horror comedy classic, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. So grab your cotton candy guns. Let's get ready to dissect this delightfully terrifying film.
That's right, Mike. This month, we're embracing the spooky season by looking at the film that forever changed the way we look at circuses and clowns. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a film that's both a love letter to the 50s sci-fi B movies and a clever send-up of 80s horror tropes. So let's get started with our analysis, shall we?
We shall. First, we've got The Arrival. The movie opens with a meteor shower that's unlike anything we've ever seen. But, as it really turns out, these aren't just your average space rocks. The special effects here are a mix of practical and stop-motion animation, which adds to the campy B-movie feel, which I love. What do you think of the opening, Juju?
I think the opening scene is brilliant. It's not the vintage charm that reminds me of the old Twilight Zone episodes. The moment the first clown pops out of the space-edge meteor is both eerie and hilarious. The blend of horror and comedy is established right from the get-go, and it sets the tone for the rest of the film. It's clear that the Chiodo brothers, who directed and created the special effects, were influenced by the likes of H.G. Wells
Classic.
and the classic sci-fi invasion narratives.
All right, so then we've got First Encounter. So moving on, we have the first encounter between our protagonists, Mike and Debbie, played by Grant Kramer, and the beautiful Suzanne Snyder. And then we've got the clowns. Their initial reactions are priceless, and it's a great example of how the film plays with our expectations. We expect a couple of lovebirds on a date, but instead, we get a full-on alien invasion.
Definitely. The way the film flips from a romantic setup to a horror comedy is seamless. It's a nod to the 50s creature features, where the monsters are both terrifying and oddly charming. The clowns are obviously the stars of the show, with their exaggerated features and their twisted clown gear. The use of color in their costumes is a stark contrast to the dark, shadowy woods, which makes them stand out in a delightfully creepy way.
And then, as the movie progresses, you get to see the clowns wreak havoc on the town, using various circus-themed weapons, like the popcorn gun, and the chilling animal that turns into a deadly creature. So, how do you feel about the blend of horror and humor in these scenes?
The horror comedy is blended, is executed so well in these scenes. It's over the top and ridiculous, but it works. It's like watching a micro circus shows where you can't help but laugh at the absurdity of it all. The clowns are genuinely scary, but the way they go about their business is so absurd that it's hard not to find it entertaining. Plus, the use of practical effects for the clowns' gadgets is really impressive for the time.
Yes, definitely. And let's not forget about the local police department, led by the skeptical Sheriff Mooney, played by the ever-famous John Vernon. His disbelief and eventual acceptance of the clown invasion adds a whole other layer of humor to this film. So what's your take on the portrayal of the authorities in this film?
Oh, it's classic. The skepticism is of the authorities is a staple in sci-fi and horror films, but here it's taken to a whole new level. Sheriff Mooney is a voice of reason, but even he can't ignore the evidence piling up. His journey from skeptic to believer is a highlight for me, especially when he finally sees a giant circus tent that the clowns use as their spaceship. The film does a good job of balancing the absurdity with the need for a straight man to keep the story grounded. We're throwing every crazy idea they had at the wall and seeing that stuck. The fact that it somehow makes a twisted kind of sense in the context of the film is a testament to their creativity. and the showdown, scene 6. And then we have the grand finale where our heroes face off against the clowns and all of that. The use of the circus tent as their spaceship is a brilliant visual metaphor for the chaotic world they created. Plus, the final showdown with the big clown and the circus tent is pure 80s cinematic gold.
That's right, the showdown is so satisfying. It's a culmination of everything we've seen so far. The horror, the comedy, of course the campiness. It's really like watching a circus act going wrong, but with a sci-fi twist. Clown's weakness to music is a clever twist, and the use of the pop song Killer Klowns by the Dickies adds to the chaos. Now, let's talk themes. There's a clear commentary here on consumerism and the loss of innocence. The clowns use our fears against us, turning everyday objects into weapons and turning the townspeople into, well, snacks. What are your thoughts on the film's underlying messages, Juju?
The film can be seen as a metaphor for the commercialization of fear. The clowns represent the darker side of entertainment, turning innocent fun into something sinister. The film also plays with the idea of the other, using the clown motif to explore the fear of the unknown. Plus, the film setting is a small town under siege is a nod to a classic Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
I totally agree, Juju. The film's use of color and lighting is another nod to the 50s sci-fi and 80s horror. It's like they're taking the best elements of both genres and just sticking them together in a way that feels nostalgic and fresh.
Influences on pop culture. Killer Clowns from Outer Space has had a lasting impact on pop culture. We've seen the clowns referenced in everything from TV shows to music videos. How do you think this film has influenced other works?
Well, it's definitely left its mark. For me, the clowns have inspired a generation of filmmakers and artists who appreciate the absurdity and creativity of the film. It's really hard to talk about Killer Clowns without mentioning this film. It's like the Citizen Kane of Killer Clown cinema.
Yes. It set the bar for creepy clowns. You can't deny that the look of the clowns has influenced later works like the clowns in It and American Horror Story, The Freak Show. The film's unique blend of humor and horror has become a blueprint for modern horror comedies.
All right, so in conclusion, y'all, Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a film that holds up surprisingly well. It's got heart, it's got humor, and it's got enough jump scares to keep you looking over your shoulder at the next circus that rolls into town.
I couldn't agree more, Mark. It's a film that's both a loving homage to the classics and a unique creation in its own right. It's the kind of movie that you can watch again and again and still find something new to enjoy.
And with that said, we wrap up our Halloween edition of Mike and Juju's Movie Corner. We do hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of clowns and circus horror. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we will be dissecting another childhood favorite. Until then, keep it real and keep it spooky, y'all.